On today's show, we're going to talk about estimating and how to choose the right estimator, or whether you should do the estimates yourself, what it is you're looking for when you're doing the estimate, what you're looking for when you're looking for an estimate, when is the right time for you to actually outsource estimating or keep it in-house. That's what we're going to talk about today on the Commercial Claims Show, and let's get right to it in 3, 2, 1. What's up, advocates? Welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Claims Show. I am your host, Vince Perry, and we are here today to talk about estimating. But before we do, make sure you go on commercialclaimsadvocate.com. You can check out all the stuff that we've got, book here, and so much more. You know what? I'll talk about that at the end, but make sure you subscribe to the channel because we have a new show every single week. So let's get right to it. Additional living expenses is one of the most difficult parts of an insurance claim, and the reason is it's very high pressure. And as a public adjuster or contractor, you're already dealing with the negotiating of the build-back process. You don't want to have to deal with ALE as well. Black Diamond Housing Services does all of that. They don't even charge the client. They bill it directly to the insurance company. It's all covered under the ALE coverage. So you need to call Black Diamond if you have a house that has been severely lost, whether it's like severe mold, severe water, fire, or anything like that, where they need a place to stay. Call Black Diamond Housing Services and they'll be able to take care of your client from beginning to end. I had been looking for an accountant for years and I was unable to find anybody that I liked, that I worked with, and was able to do what I needed to be done to my taxes and to my accountant. Jeremy David at Noble Wealth has been a godsend to me, my family, and my company. We have saved so much money in taxes I can't even begin to describe, and he knows what he's doing. You need to call Jeremy at Noble Wealth and get yourself the right accountant because he's the man who's going to help you save on taxes, because ultimately you don't want to be making money, especially if you're self-employed, and having it all go to the IRS. Call Jeremy, call Noble Wealth, and they will help you tremendously with the entire accounting process and your tax situation from A to Z. How to choose the right estimator. Let's talk about estimating. I got some topics here that I'm going to discuss. We're going to also put them right down here so that you are aware of exactly what it is that we're discussing and at what point in the video. Let's start with something really important. When I was doing estimating, I was doing estimating all by myself for many, many years. I wasn't even actually using Xactimate. I was using actually something different called SimSol. Most of you probably have heard of it. There's also Simbility as well. So those are the three kinds of estimating software pretty much that you have. I'm sure there's some that I'm missing as well. But I think we could all agree that the common software that people use is Xactimate. But I'm not afraid to admit, when I was estimating, I was using SimSol. So you know what that means? I technically don't know how to use Xactimate. I'm sure if I sat down for a little while and I figured it out, I could figure out how to actually use Xactimate. But the fact of the matter is I've never personally put an estimate together from beginning to end on Xactimate. So I'm sure that might surprise some of you. I used SimSol for about 5 or 6 years, and that's how I was able to do all of my estimates, and they were all perfectly okay. Which is going to lead me to a point eventually is what is actually required in the policy when you submit an estimate is not an Xactimate estimate. So I've been doing it for many years. Eventually I got to a point where it was time to outsource estimating because frankly, I feel as public adjusters, we are better off spending our time doing two things: finding the work and working the claim. Finding the work means we have to network. We have to get out there. We have to meet people, develop relationships with contractors, develop relationships with just the people in the community and let people know that we exist. Number two, it's the art of negotiation. It's the art of reading the policy. It's the art of putting arguments together against the insurance company. So when you're starting out, if you have a little bit more time than normal, which most people do when they're starting out, you can go ahead and put together your estimates. It's going to be great for you to learn how to do it. You should know how to scope. You should know how to sketch. You should know how to write everything that needs to be in there. And frankly, you should get experience of actually writing an estimate. But you're going to get to a point where you're going to want to eventually outsource that. So when is the right time to outsource that? You're going to know yourself. You're going to know inside when you're just like, you know what? I shouldn't be spending all this time sitting here writing line items and figuring out what needs to be put in there, blah, 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 blah. That's going to take too much of your time because that half hour, and sometimes way, way more could be spent either maybe trying to settle a claim, negotiating a claim, arguing a claim, or going out there and finding new claims. You're going to know when that time comes. When you feel like you get to a point where I should not be doing this, that's the time when you need to do it. But you should be obviously being prepared for it. So let's see, here we go. So let's talk about why it's actually important to have a precise and correct estimate for your damages. Public adjusters get a bad rap of writing what we like to call fluff, okay? Where you're writing things in the estimate that probably shouldn't be there. Now, allow me to defend public adjusters real fast and understand where we're coming from. we have to make sure that nothing is missed, okay? We have to make sure that when we're putting the estimate together, everything that needs to be in there is in there. Whether or not the insured chooses to use or to actually complete some of those line items is really not up to us. It's just us knowing that if this needs to be done, that needs to be done. If that needs to be done, then that. If they want to take shortcuts after the claim gets paid, that has nothing to do with us. But as public adjusters, when we are going up against the insurance company, we have to make sure we've got everything ready, everything in there for all the possibilities that could happen when the repair process comes in. And I might add, on the other side, they're kind of doing the opposite. Insurance companies are basically trying to put everything minimal as possible. They want to detach and reset this. Let's wait to see if that breaks and then we'll put it into the estimate. No, we're putting everything in there right now because we know the chances of that breaking. We know that has to be removed and replaced. We know that has to be included in the estimate. So that's how it sort of is how we're coming from. Should you write your own estimates? I think I answered that earlier. In the beginning, yes. I think you should give it a shot. I think you should try writing your own estimates, learn how to do it so that when you do eventually outsource estimating, you actually know exactly what you're looking at. You know what the estimator was thinking when he put that. You know what that line item is. You know what comes after that line item. You want to know, like anything else in business, you want to be able to have worked as the grunt. You want to know that you have worked on all aspects of your business before you start outsourcing things and hiring people. So should you write your own estimates? Yes, in the beginning. Should you write your own estimates after several years in the industry and you start to grow? Absolutely not. So when is the right time to outsource your estimates? Like I said, we were going to get into the right time to outsource your estimate is when you start to scale a little bit, when you start to grow. Even if you're a one-person show, it's almost more reason if you are going to continue to grow your business, you want to at least outsource that to an independent company that could go ahead and knock everything out. And I would even recommend, there's no reason, in my opinion, you could send somebody out. Actually, you know what? There's usually two options, right? You could either outsource the entire process of the estimate to somebody else, which means that estimator is going to go out there, photograph, document, sketch, scope, and then put the estimate together. Or you can, as a public adjuster, you can go ahead and document, you could scope it, you could sketch it, take that scope and sketch and photos, send it to the estimator, and have them write it. It's going to be cheaper. But remember, you're spending now an additional 30 minutes, possibly an hour in that house doing that. You have to decide what you feel you should do. For many, many years, in the beginning, I wrote estimates. Then I only scoped and I sent it to an estimator until eventually I got to the point where I didn't want to do either of it. So I'd go, I'd see the claim, I'd take my photos, I'd get my contract signed, I'd shake hands with the client, and I'd walk away. You're going to be hearing from my estimator who's going to be out here to put an estimate together. So it's really up to you what you want to do, whether you want to do that or not. So when is the right time to outsource? You're going to know. You're going to know when that time is right for you to start doing that. Obviously, you have to have money in your account because you're going to be paying somebody to do it now instead of doing it yourself. Next thing is where to find a reliable estimator. Message me and we'll be able to find one for you. I'm going to get into later I would say the top two avenues, the top two people to use in estimating, but you got to just look in your local, just look on Google, look in your local area to see if you could find somebody there. This is going to be a good one. What is the price you should aim for when paying for an estimate? Now, a lot of people are going to get mad at me, but the price varies. It really depends on the work product. What's the work product you're getting, and what is the turnaround time that you're getting on that estimate? I believe personally, if you're going to send an estimator out to do everything, to scope it, sketch it, and then writing, I think you're probably going to be around the $300 to $400 to $500 to $600 and up to $1,000. So anywhere as little as $300 for that, and as up to $1,000. I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, but I am not a fan of paying an estimator a percentage of your claim. Ooh, estimators, come get me, because there's a lot of them out there. Since Hurricane Ian hit, we see them everywhere. These estimators that are taking a percentage of your claim. These estimators that, depending on the size of your claim, it seems cheap at first, but as soon as you get to like $50,000, they're doubling, and then $100,000, and then more and more and more. When a lot of the estimates that we're writing aren't going to be less than really $75,000 or $50,000. So be careful. The price is going to be as little as $300, and it could be well over $1,000. In my opinion, if you're getting a good work product, like a great work product, I even think that should be under $1,000. I really do. And that's the whole thing. That's to go out there, to write it, to sketch it, and give you a nice photo report, give you a nice estimate, and put everything to go. I don't care what you're going to tell me. Go ahead and send me a message. Send me your hate, especially you estimators that are charging percentage of the claim. I'm not a big fan of that. There should be a flat fee that the public adjuster knows how much it's going to be. And for a client too, especially if they have a public adjuster, but even if they don't, to put something together, in my opinion, that takes, let's say, 7 days, and for that person to hold on to a percentage of the claim all the way to the end, even when there's supplements and so on and so forth, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm very proud of my industry as public adjusters. There's a lot that we do in the background. Our work continues all the way to the very end of the claim, not just the estimate writing. So I'm not a big fan of that. If that's what you do, estimators, that's fine. More power to you. But I think there should be a flat fee. So like I said, as little as $300 to do everything, and as much as $1,000. I don't think you should go more than $1,000 to write an estimate. But again, it also, I guess, depends. We like here at Elite Resolutions, we offer an estimating service. We like to do it depending on your turnaround time. Do you want it in your normal 7 days, or do you want it in 2 days? That price will vary depending on how fast you want it. And then also, if we're only writing it and we're not going out there and scoping it, only writing, normally it's going to be about half the price because you've already done the sketch, the scope, and the photographs. Let's see. So, good question. Should you hire an estimator from your state, or can it be anywhere else? That kind of depends, right? If you've got a complicated claim that's got code upgrades and different things related to your state, then you might want to find somebody local. I would recommend finding somebody local, but it really doesn't matter. You can get an estimator anywhere in the state. Just make sure that estimator understands what state you're in and some of the legals and the code and the construction behind some of the things that you're putting together. What should you expect from estimation? Accuracy. You want to get accuracy. Make sure you have a good estimate put together, because what happens is when you're submitting that estimate to the insurance company, if they see that estimate is garbage and you're writing stuff that doesn't exist, or you're writing things that shouldn't be included, it's going to hurt your credibility. Make sure your estimates are accurate. So that's pretty much it. Let's see. One thing I want to talk about. We got here something regarding policy and estimation. Anything they must do in regards to policy, I want to say something clear. Everybody knows that Xactimate is pretty much the industry standard. That's what everybody for the most part uses. I don't know why it is what it is, but that's what it is. I will have you know that doesn't mean that you have to submit an Xactimate estimate. Nowhere in the policy does it state it has to be an Xactimate estimate from Xactimate. It can be from Symbility. It can be from Simsol. Frankly, it could be an Excel spreadsheet that's broken down, detailed line item by line item, and you could submit that as well. What the insurance company wants to see is a detailed estimate of what it's going to cost, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Xactimate. So remember that when an insurance adjuster, because it's happened to me a million times, they're going to say, well, we need an Xactimate estimate. No, you don't. No, you don't. So if you're looking for an estimator, I will tell you your two best options. Number one is my good friend Mario Rios. He's amazing, and he didn't ask me to do this. I'm just doing it because he's a great, great personal friend of mine. He's been involved in our courses and in much, much more, and we've been friends for a very long time, and I trust him to put together great estimates. I would recommend Mario. We've got his contact information here for you to go ahead and get your estimates. And then also Elite Resolutions. Elite Resolutions, we offer estimating services to public adjusting firms, contractors, attorneys all over the country. We've got 3 full-time estimators on staff to handle all of our claims and also anyone else's claims. So if you are interested in any kind of estimating service for your insurance claim, go ahead and send us a message. You can leave a comment below, send us a message on eliteresolutions.com, even commercialclaimsadvocate.com, anywhere you want, and we'll be happy to go ahead and put that together for you. That's what we got, guys. Estimating 101, not just about estimating, but choosing the right estimator, what you should be presenting, how you should be presenting it to the insurance company, what the turnaround time, and how much you should be paying. Very, very important information here in anybody in the industry. I'm probably going to get some heat for it, but that's okay. Heat is good. Please leave your comment below. I look forward to the positive and the negative comments that we get. It's just, that's what keeps the ball rolling. So that's what we got here, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vince Perry. I'm the Commercial Claims Advocate. Make sure you follow follow me on everywhere: TikToks, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to this channel because we got a new one coming out every single Wednesday, Content Wednesday. We've also got our podcast that comes out on Monday. We've got our best of that we have on Friday. So that's 3 videos a week. You've got to subscribe. You've got to click the bell. We've got so much content for you in the insurance claims industry that it's good stuff. I personally love it. And look, we got shirts now too. commercialclaimsadvocate.com, claim settler. That's what we got, guys. Make sure you subscribe. I think that's it. I keep saying that. Goodbye. See you later. Get your estimates done. Make sure they're right and submit them on time. See you later. Peace out. Goodbye.